have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring gas. Welcome to Flagrant Howls, a Minnesota Timberwolves lifestyle podcast.
Bring Yas, Lakers, Timberwolves. We've got the full schedule now. The Lakers are going to get plenty of rest. You know, the NBA, it's not enough to make sure they get all the free throws, right? Now they got to get 15 days off between every game. So what is it? I think so. They play on Saturday, and then it's like a week and a half off, and then it's game 2 in sometime in late
I hate the
April.
NBA playoff schedule. Like it's an old gripe, but the NBA playoff schedule. Can we not?
Well, it gets better
expedite
later in the
entire
playoffs.
thing?
Like earlier, there's so many games they're trying to like space for TV.
I know, for TV,
It actually gets like every other day-ish once you get later, but yeah, it's definitely a couple days off. LeBron gets to rest his 40-year-old bones and Luka and all that
I don't want
stuff.
anyone resting. Let's make them play.
They should play back-to-backs. That's what I want.
They probably did back in the day. And guess what? They flew commercial.
That's right. They're playing
And they liked it.
Back-to-back, sitting coach, smoking heaters on the plane.
Oh, sounds great.
Speaking of smoking heaters, it's our hottest Wolves takes edition of Flagrant Howls here. So we'll get it rocking here in a moment after we shout out. If you're a professional athlete or a regular human looking to just increase your performance, Neos Elite Performance, Judd.
Yep, and if you're a person who has been in sports and you're trying to get your edge back in life, I'm going to tell you right now, the experts at Neos Elite Performance can help you if chronic pain is slowing you down. Neos Elite's cutting-edge regenerative medicine and cellular IV therapy is designed to get you going again. And here's the most important part, without invasive procedures. This is what they call white glove service because it's delivered to your home. No trips to the hospital, no trips to the doctors. The team at Neos is going to come to you. So if back or knee pain is making everyday tasks feel darn near impossible, stop your suffering. Neos Elite therapies are designed to reduce pain, restore function, and get you back to doing what you love. No surgery, no downtime, only results. Schedule now at neoselite.com. That's NEOS elite.com.
Also, Bricksworth, great place to gather for if there's home playoff games that you plan on attending here. Before the game, after the game, even for the away games, a crowd gathers at Bricksworth in the North Loop. And also a reminder, it's such a big weekend next weekend because the Vikings draft party, the Purple Daily draft party, is going to be just across the street from Bricksworth next Thursday, and that's an off night for the Wolves. So come on over to Bricksworth for the pre-party, 3:30 to 5 o'clock on Thursday, April 24th, before the Purple Daily Draft Party presented by Standard Heating and Air. Bricksworth has just become an awesome place for Wolves fans to congregate. That Nas Reed Hazy IPA that you can drink, some of the best Detroit-style pizza, dry rub wings, so check them out. All right, Judd, why don't you hit the first tee shot here? What is your hottest Wolves take?
Okay, it's a hot take, sort of a prediction of sorts, but let's just say this.
Coming in hot.
Let's go, yeah.
Woo-hoo!
So Mike Breen on the controls here. Let's go.
Yep.
Bang! Bang!
Cryptocurrent Arena is the site of Timberwolves Lakers game one. Bang! Kevin Harlan. The more TNT we get, the better. I want as much. I mean, all due respect, Mike Breen is fantastic. Kevin Harlan, though, is my guy.
Well, Kevin, yeah, there's like a provincial connection with Kevin Harlan.
I just think he's great. I just think he's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So here's my Wolves hottest take. I think this is going to be the series of Anthony Edwards. He will lead all scorers in the series, and he will lead the Wolves to a 7-game victory. He is going to. So I wrote about this for little shameless plug, the Zolgad Substack. Okay. And after the game on Sunday, as the games around the league were winding down, Ant was asked, the ordinary, because it always gets asked, who do you want to face? Do you have a fun? And of course, he's not going to say, oh, I want to face this team or that team. So he just said, I don't give a damn. But I wrote this. I said, that's a bunch of BS. He wanted the Lakers. He wants the Lakers. The Lakers are all due respect to Denver, right? Rivalry. I think Ant despises them. That's awesome. All due respect to Phoenix. Durant, his buddy. He wants to show them. But the Lakers are the Lakers. They are the team on the marquee. To your point, Phil, the NBA loves them. The NBA would like them to advance. And most importantly, they have a guy who every single day somewhere a talking head debates who's the greatest player of all time, LeBron James or Jordan. And of course, Ant knows well that he's been compared to Jordan. He's not there yet, obviously. I think this is going to be the series of Ant. I think he's going to lead all scorers. This includes Luka.
Wow.
And I think he is going to lead the Wolves to a 7-game series win because he is going to play out of his mind. That's my hottest take.
Judd's not a big wrestling guy. Declan is. But Judd, you're aware of a wrestler named Randy Orton, the Viper, right?
Yes.
RKO out of nowhere. One of the great finishing moves of all time.
I definitely know the name. Yes.
Well, before he was the Viper and before he was delivering RKOs out of nowhere, he was the Legend Killer early in his career.
Oh, okay.
So he came in as one of the youngest. He was the youngest WWE champion of all time, right? He comes in. He's going to be the next face of the WWE, and he became a face of the WWE. Mm-hmm. But early in his career, he made his name by killing legends, beating the best that the WWE has to offer. And Anthony Edwards is on that path. Playoff Ant in terms of pelts on the wall.
Yep.
Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic, and now he's got he lost one to Luka and the Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals last year. But he gets now LeBron, either the best or second best player in the history of the NBA, and Luka, who's on his way to being. I just pulled up the ESPN when the top 75 NBA players were ranked a couple years ago. The 75th anniversary celebration, and they had Kevin Durant number 12. They had LeBron James number 2 behind Michael Jordan. Jokic was not quite in that area yet. I think Jokic is top 15, maybe all time now. This is 3 years later with multiple MVPs, NBA championship. So you could say right now, Anthony Edwards has slayed or slain 2 of the top 15 all-time NBA players in Kevin Durant and Nikola Jokic. LeBron is in the top 15, top 3, and Luka is on his way toward being a top 15 or 20 all-time NBA player if he keeps playing like this. Could Anthony Edwards become the NBA's version of Randy Orton, the Legend Killer? The storylines here are incredible going into this series. Mm-hmm. And I'm with you. I think if you were to, the Grizzlies are fine, and the Rockets are the 2 seed, but what gets Ant's juices flowing, almost to a fault sometimes, where it's like, bro, can you pay attention to the Pelicans on a Wednesday so that later on you're not fighting for the 6 seed with 2 games left? But I don't think there's any question about Lakers. They're going to find, the schedule's already kind of come out. There's a couple late games, but they're going to find primetime slots on ABC and TNT for these games to live on.
Yes. He
knows the world is watching. We talked about this on Monday and last week, that feeling that he probably had of embarrassment, maybe a little shame, and also a feeling of, I'm not quite on that level. When Kyrie and Luka punked the Wolves in that series last year, it was very obvious. Going into that series, you thought, the Wolves might have the best player in the series based on the way Ant's been playing here. And then after the series, it was like, oh, yeah, he's not on that level yet. Okay. Well, this is your next chance to get on or surpass that level. People don't make that determination on February 20th on a Thursday night game,
right,
what level you're at in the NBA's pantheon. They make that decision playing the Lakers in a 7-game series. Mm-hmm. And
2
that's
things.
my thought.
Mm-hmm. Love the Legend Killer tie-in because I love me some old school Randy Orton pre-Viper. 2, back when Judd was talking about the other teams, I forget who was on Barstool who said this week. I loving using the term without disrespect, right? No disrespect, and then savaging that team with disrespect. No disrespect.
Well, no,
but
I'm
going to disrespect you.
But I said no disrespect to Denver. But I think, to Phil's point, the juices flow for Ant when he gets the Lakers. He's beaten the Nuggets, if you play the Nuggets, right, you're sort of buried on TNT. I mean, you're on nationally. All these games are, but you're sort of just an afterthought.
But there's like an NBA TV game.
You
probably.
just start at 8:50. You get shuffled around, right? Like the Lakers. The Lakers are a heritage franchise, and the other thing about Ant too is, for as guilty as he can be of not showing up for games in which the opponent's not great, but he should show up and kill, and he does not. I don't think we could ever accuse him, and he has struggled at times, but I don't think we could ever accuse him of not showing up for a marquee opponent.
Yeah.
And this is going to be it. And Ant has his faults, but I also think that when you look at his career and, most importantly, his playoff career, it's pretty damn impressive. This is the next step. This is, you beat the Lakers, and I guarantee you nationally, you are going to get more respect than you did for sweeping the Suns, than you did for the Denver series. This is a series, right or wrong, that would stamp Ant as again a first take lead talking point.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, at the risk of this show just becoming a runaway freight train of positivity here, Positive Phil loves where this is going, but I do feel like we'd like to root our analysis in reality as well. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna ride the positive train here. My hottest take is, and I gave you this on the record on Write That Down, my hottest take is Wolves in 6 or fewer. ESPN's panel of experts, NBA experts, 10 of them, all have the Lakers winning this series. A lot of the commentary from smart podcasters, YouTubers who cover the league nationally, leaning into, Lakers have some major advantages here. And one of the main things I keep hearing is, what's Rudy Gobert going to do in the series? Man, they're going to just get Rudy Gobert out on skates. They're going to pull him away from the comfortable waters of the paint and the rim protection, and he's going to be out there in this foreign land out on the perimeter in isolation, and they're going to play him off the court, because that's the narrative of what happened when he was with the Jazz in the Clippers series where they blew a 2-0 lead, and the Mavericks series. But those Jazz teams had such atrocious perimeter defenders around Rudy that he was made to look a lot worse and to look like kind of the scapegoat and the culprit when he wasn't necessarily the case. So I want to do a little bit of myth busting here. Rudy Gobert can't guard in isolation, right? If you get him out there, look what happened. Luka hit a game winner over him. Well, there was a possession or two before that Rudy ran him around out on the perimeter and ran him off of a couple shots. But I want to bring you some hard, concrete data. Last season, Rudy Gobert was in the 87th percentile of isolation defenders. So NBA.com tracks with their player movement software. They track how many times per game are you in isolation as a defender, and then how many points per possession do you allow, field goal percentage allowed. And Rudy Gobert, among all players, this is guards, forwards, centers, everyone in the league, last season he was in the 87th percentile in isolation defense. You could argue he was close to an elite perimeter defender last year, but because Luka hits a shot, which he hits shots over everyone, it's like, there's the poster. Like, the posterization of Rudy always gets the headline over all the other things he does, which are sort of unquantifiable. This year, he's been around league average as an isolation defender, but much more mobile, we can agree, since coming back from the back injury. He's been a different player since the middle of March than before the All-Star break. You want to know who was the worst isolation defender in last year's Western Conference playoffs?
Luka.
No. Karl Anthony Towns.
That's foul.
So
that's a foul thing to say. Foul.
According to NBA.com, the worst isolation defender, points per possession, was Karl Anthony Towns in the Western Conference playoffs last year. So you are extracting an absolute isolation defender liability, and Julius Randle is not an elite isolation defender, but he can hold his own more in those situations than Karl did in the playoffs and regular season last year.
That's really surprising.
But that's the thing. Like
That's
people
a really
point to,
surprising-
Rudy's the problem. No. Rudy was not the problem in that category. Cat was the problem in that category. The other thing that I keep hearing is, well, the Lakers are just going to play 5-out small ball, and the Wolves like to play a little bit bigger with Rudy on the court. They're screwed, right? And while it is true that most of the Wolves' top lineup combinations, 5-man lineup combinations, according to net rating, do include Rudy Gobert. Like, he is a major positive force in their positive net rating.
Right.
If you look at the top 10 Wolves lineup combinations, 4 of them out of 10 do not include Rudy Gobert. So they've got some flexibility where you can go with your Nikhil, DiVincenzo, Ant, Nas, Julius smaller lineup, which is a plus 11 per 100 possessions over a 200-minute sample. And I guess my point here would be the Wolves don't live and die with Rudy on the court. He is a huge net positive. But I think the Wolves have more lineup combo levers they can pull than the Lakers, who maybe this is a hot take too. I think the Lakers might only have like 7 playable players in this series. At the end of the day, like, I think the Wolves would welcome Jared Vanderbilt getting 12 minutes. Because you're just, all right, you want to go shoot? We're going to leave you open over here.
Right.
He's not big enough to hang with Rudy if you can get Rudy in the paint. So I just feel like the Wolves have a lot of levers they can pull. The Lakers have an incredible 5-man small ball lineup when it's Luka, LeBron, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and Dorian Finney-Smith. That lineup is like a plus 25 points per 100 possessions. So that's a problem. But if that lineup is not performing the way that it has in the regular season, it's not like they have a bunch of other answers and combos and 3 starters who can come off the bench like the Wolves do. So just a little myth busting here to push back at this national narrative that it's Lakers in 6.
You don't think people who probably have watched the Wolves 3 times all season know what they're talking about?
The Rudy thing is always funny. It's like there's so many, dude, you can literally go to YouTube, type in Rudy Gobert perimeter defense or Rudy Gobert isolation defense, and people far smarter than us are doing great breakdowns. Okay, is he Kawhi Leonard with the Spurs in terms of like lockdown isolation defender? No. But people paint it like, oh man, it's like you're gonna lick your chops to get Rudy in isolation. No, that is not the case.
But because of your depth now, which I think the Wolves' depth, because they certainly did not have this much depth a year ago, I think it's being sold short. But this is where 5 days of Chris Finch preparing becomes incredibly important. And this is where Chris Finch's willingness to go to his bench becomes important too, right? Because like that's what you're talking about. So if something does go wrong, you have an answer. My question is, are you going to turn to it quickly enough to stop the bleeding? But you have that. Like, that's the biggest difference to me between the Ant, Cat, Rudy team that made a Western Conference Finals run a year ago, and this team is the increased depth.
Yes. I would say this, though, too, like, because we were kind of arguing about Mike Conley on the Write That Down Mackey and Judd episode. One of the biggest advantages the Wolves have if Jackson Hayes is off the court, because Jackson Hayes is averaging, I don't know, 15 minutes a game or something, and it depends. Are the Lakers going to put their 7-footer out there more often because the Wolves have Rudy out there, or are they going to try and, hey, he'll play 12 minutes and he'll start, but we're going to play small ball?
I'm guessing that one.
If Jackson Hayes isn't on the floor and the tallest Lakers player is 6'8", one of the biggest advantages the Wolves have is Rudy at the rim offensively.
Sure.
And the best player to feed him the ball at the rim, either intentionally or with his little, like, I'm going to throw a floater up here knowing that Rudy's got his guy sealed, is Mike Conley. So in some ways, this is not a Mike Conley series because I don't know who he defends. Right. In other ways, if there's a chance Rudy could just be a monster inside on the offensive glass and cleaning up floaters
keep that ball
getting
high.
to the free throw line. Yeah.
Just keep that ball high, boys.
So,
no low passes.
No rocket bounce passes, pocket passes in the paint.
Julius, nothing like that.
Before we get to Declan's hottest Wolves take here, a journey over to Parlor Bar. Parlor in the North Loop and the best burger in town.
Oh, it's great. It's fantastic. The Parlor Burger, it's famous, right? But let me tell you right now, every team needs a bench. Every team needs a bench, and every restaurant does as well. And while the burger is absolutely to die for, I'm going to tell you right now, also starting right beside it, in my opinion, underrated, don't sleep on, the chicken sandwich. The fried chicken sandwich is absolutely great. Parlor is yes, it's great burgers. It's great for dinner. It's great for a night out. In fact, perhaps before a Wolves playoff game. But the menu runs, as Phil and Dex can attest to, it runs deeper than just the burger. And I'm going to turn you on right now to that fried chicken sandwich, which is fantastic. Parlor Bar, kitchen open until midnight on Friday and Saturday. As Phil said, North Loop, right near, if there's a Wolves game right nearby, so check it out. And look at the whole depth chart, folks. Look at the whole. Don't go in with a preconceived, this is the starter.
You can change your lineup combination.
Exactly
Have to be flexible,
right.
you know?
Exactly right. I want Chris Finch to be flexible. Then when I go to Parlor, I pick up that menu. I got to be flexible.
Here's what I want you for your next Parlor spot, maybe next week. I want you to assign some of the top food and drink items as a Wolves player.
Okay.
I mean, like who's the Jaden McDaniels?
Yep.
Is the old fashioned the Julius Randle?
And the burger is ant.
You know?
The burger is ant, but the fried chicken sandwich, man, that's way up there.
Yeah.
That's not exactly the Garza. No offense. All due respect.
Hey Dex, so the next weekend's a huge weekend for a lot of things, but also add craft beer festival to the list of things to do next weekend.
Yeah, there's over 80 breweries and craft beverages. So when you do your top 100 Wolves, you can just slide in the top 80 Wolves for the different craft beers. I'll let actually Phil then do that next exercise. Maybe I can help out a little bit there too. But MinnesotaCraftBeerFestival.com to get your tickets. It's April 26th from 1 to 5 p.m. It's at the Minneapolis Convention Center. If you love craft beer, this is a must attend. Again, over 80 breweries and craft beverages. April 26th. Get your tickets. MinnesotaCraftBeerFestival.com.
All right, dudes. Declan, batting cleanup here. What is your hottest Wolves take?
Let's continue down the Rudy Gobert discourse because that involves my hot take. My hottest take, as we kind of discussed a little bit here, but my hottest take is Rudy Gobert is the most important player to the Timberwolves beating the Lakers. So we can talk about Ant being the superstar. We can discuss how Julius Randle fits. Rudy Gobert, his fit and his impact is the most important thing for the Wolves to beat the Lakers. I even saw this come from Nick Wright like 5 minutes ago, that Luka's going to want to make Rudy Gobert cry, and I think it's going to be a hard-fought 5-game series win for the Lakers. So all these national pundits it's easy to punch down, which is difficult because he's so tall, on Rudy Gobert. They think the Lakers are just going to absolutely cakewalk their way through this series. But in the 17 games that Rudy has played since returning from those back spasms, this dude is averaging almost 16 points a game, 12 rebounds, a bunch of offensive boards. He is shooting 70% from the floor. So we know him as this big defensive stalwart that everything starts with, and the defensive rating for the Wolves is obviously a lot higher when Rudy is on the court versus off the court. But offensively, he has not turned into a liability. I mean, you're converting 70% of your shots. Now, if he gets into some free throw shooting, that can be obviously a little bit of an issue. But I think what Rudy Gobert has brought offensively over the last 17 games is huge. We know what he means defensively. It's so easy to just look at him and pick on him and say Luke is going to make him cry and people are going to expose him and he's not going to be able to fit. He's going to be played off the court. I completely disagree. I think Rudy Gobert's impact for the Wolves on the court is the most important part of them getting past the Lakers. That's my hottest take.
Yeah. Okay. Amen. Going to piggyback off of some of this. If Rudy, the part of the Lakers' blueprint for winning the series is making Rudy a negative for the Timberwolves, right? Because Rudy Gobert on the court, by almost every measurement, you're going to be plus rebounding against a smaller team.
Right.
You're going to potentially be plus in the paint not that he's going to score 35 points himself, but he's going to have a significant height advantage to clean up shots and offensive rebounds in close if he's on the court. And to Declan's point about the offense, like obviously he doesn't have the widest skill set of offensive bag. He catches passes in close and he lays the ball in, dunks, or gets fouled. That's how he scores. He doesn't have like a mid-range game. He doesn't shoot threes. But because he is so efficient at what he does offensively, the Timberwolves' offensive net rating is the best when Rudy is on the court. If you rank every Timberwolves player, like what is the Wolves' offensive net rating when each player is on the court? Rudy Gobert, number 1. Mike Conley, number 2, in part because his minutes do align a lot with Rudy Gobert's, and he has a rapport with Gobert. Julius Randle, and then it goes into everybody else. After that's kind of tied, like Nikhil, Jaden, Naz, Anthony Edwards, DiVincenzo. So, yeah, there's a lot of like, I don't know, maybe people are just going to run this back. I'm sure Lakers fans will discover some of these clips in this episode, and by the end of it, maybe the Lakers win in 5, and we all look like idiots, and that's fine. We can deal with that. But there's way too much thoughtless, mindless, Lakers are going to wipe the floor with Rudy, and Rudy's a punchline. Let's make fun of Rudy. When Rudy is like one of the main reasons why this team went to the Western Conference Finals last year. So this is going to be a banger of a series, and Rudy is going to be, I agree with Declan, Rudy is going to be a huge, huge part of this thing, maybe offensively too.
And because of how he plays and acts, I think he's just always, he's been and will continue to be a punchline.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's just him. He's gawky and he's sort of awkward, and I think people think he's weird. But at the end of the day, when you look at the advanced metrics, he impacts teams.
Yeah. And
he has a major impact.
I would say, like, the other player here that has a really wide variance of what he could give you, and he had a really hard time against Luka in the Western Conference Finals last year too, as a lot of defenders do, is Jaden McDaniels. Offensively too, because the Lakers, even if you're handling the Lakers and running lineup combos at them that counter what they're doing, you know that Luka's going to get his offense. LeBron is one of the 2 greatest players of all time, and Austin Reeves is awesome. Like that dude is a really, really good player.
Yeah, that's
who on any given night could be your leading scorer.
Yep.
So Ant's going to give you offense. Julius can give you offense.
Yep.
Who's your third guy in this series?
Well,
we know Naz can get hot and can score some points, but like if Jaden can kind of give you the guy that was there for 2.5 months after the turn of the calendar in January, if he's getting to his mid-range, getting in aggressive to
stay
stay out of foul trouble and don't just settle for corner threes. They want him to take corner threes, and he's gonna have to knock some of them down. Don't be afraid to pass up an open corner 3 to get closer, and ones or a layup or something,
which he's proven continually when he puts his mind to it, he can do. The other thing too that's probably worth a talker on our next episode on Friday is the Julius factor. A guy who does not have a great playoff history, but is going to be again imperative to the success here. Like he has to bury the past of his playoff performances, because he becomes such an incredibly important part of this team when he's playing well.
Did you guys see some of his quotes yesterday? One thing he was talking about, and I feel like we've noticed this and we've talked about this on Flagrant Howls, is that when he first got here, he felt a ton of pressure to be 30 points per game guy, number 2 scorer, that like they need, if I don't score 30 points, then I'm failing as a player and a human, a father. No, not quite that deep. But then he kind of realized, and maybe some of it was him watching everyone else play while he was out, that, actually there's a bunch of ways we can score points. And sometimes what this team needs from me is to be playmaker Julius and to unlock other people. And if I don't score 30 points in a night, that's okay. Like we can win a lot of games when I score 19 points or 16 points and I'm passing and getting open looks and rebounding,
when the ball moves.
Yes,
absolutely,
100%. But against some of these smaller Lakers lineups, there's going to be times where you want him to be a bully and get in there and take advantage of somebody that is a little bit smaller. So anyways, all right, those are the hottest Wolves takes here from us on Flagrant Howls. Tomorrow, Craig Kilborn, our buddy Lord Kilby's going to join the podcast with me and Kyle. We'll do a little random Wolf of the week. We'll have our Feedback Friday. I think on Friday we can debate and go through who are the 10 best players in this series. How many of those 10 are Timberwolves? And I'm curious as people think about
Garza,
that. He's for sure in the
Minot,
10. 100% in the 10.
Tony Campbell.
Mark Madsen.
Tony Campbell's a little old now. Yeah.
Tony Campbell, yeah. The tough cat.
And then we can rank the top players in each franchise's history and see how many Wolves are in the top 50.
Mike and ours. Screw you, Los Angeles.
Right.
Mike and ours.
Yep.
Mickelson, Whitey Scoog.
So, yeah, we're going to be Flagrant Howls is going to be taking it up a notch here as the playoffs start. So if you haven't already, click that subscribe button and the like button on the Score North YouTube channel. And please give us a 5-star rating and a positive review on the Flagrant Howls Apple and Spotify pages. This is a Timberwolves lifestyle podcast.